Welcome back, everybody. It's a new week, so a new episode of Post to Post. It's me, Will, one half of the Brothers of Discussion. I was trying to get Grayson back in this week, but busy time with dad stuff, so hey, he'll be back soon. Hopefully, maybe next week. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I got Big D Money. Drew is back. He was here a couple weeks ago, if you remember, talking about the Royal Rumble and things. Drew, what up?
Howdy. How's it going, dude?
It's going, man. It's going. We've had quite the week wrestling wise. I mean, everyone, even people that hate AEW, are still wondering what the Cody situation is. We've been talking about it off air for a little bit, but honestly, it's been talked to death. If we have time, we'll go into it some more, but that is one of the big things going on. Other than that, it seems like a Bullet Club renaissance is on the horizon. We'll get on to that in a little bit, but I think first and foremost, the biggest thing to happen this past week was Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Saturday. I caught bits and pieces. I was traveling. I was visiting my brother, so I didn't get to see all of it, but I got to see a fair sum. Now, what I did see kind of played out the way I expected. I didn't see the women's Elimination Chamber match. Not surprised with Bianca winning that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they gave Rousey a rub over Charlotte and company just to build up that feud a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Rousey coming out in her judo gear was kind of interesting.
Very.
Yeah. Now, this one was crazy. Did you see that bump that Madcap Moss took?
Yeah, that was bad, dude. That was
good God.
That was rough. He's lucky, man, to even have walked away, let alone finish that match. Props to that guy. I think he's a pretty good dude, and pretty solid wrestler. But always dumping goofy gimmicks on people like that. It just it's sure makes him look awesome. But then you got old Drew Mack dumping him on his head, and you feel bad. You feel bad for Drew because people be like, oh, he's unsafe to work with, but really it's not his fault, and accidents do happen, man. It's wrestling, it's why we don't win. That's why we're not supposed to try it at home, right?
Exactly. I mean, you can't say that warning was heeded very much as a child because me and my brother used to do it all the time on the trampoline. We even had a pair of coveralls stuffed with straw that we used as a wrestling dummy, and he'd be doing like shooting star presses off the peak of the house onto the trampoline on top of it.
Oh my gosh, dude, that was definitely way more R-rated than the PG version of mine. I had like a mattress in the floor, and me and my buddy had some wrestling buddies and pillows, and I would just practice moves on them. And one time my buddy gave me a pedigree on we were wrestling each other, and he gave me a pedigree, but he bounced up on the mattress. Here I am in the pedigree with no blocking to my face, misses the mattress and like slams my face into like hardwood and carpeted floor, and like my nose just starts gushing blood. That he felt so bad.
That sounds about right. I know we would do all kinds of things. Our dad worked construction, so we'd set the folding ladders up the side and use those as like the turnbuckles, and we'd be doing elbow drops on each other off of it.
Man.
Like, I mean, we kind of figured out how to do most things without getting hurt. Like, we'd give each other pedigrees.
I thought it was real.
Got pretty good at German suplexes and stuff like that.
Dude, pedigree was pretty bad for me, and then one time, I'm trying to remember. I think my buddy tried to power bomb me once or something, and like just none of that goes well. Even on a bed, or a stunner. I had a friend who he stunned a kid in a school fight and like busted this kid's lip open. So I mean, for me and my gang, it was real, and we always got hurt and stuff. But I was too broke to have a trampoline. The best thing I had was, like I said, a mattress. With a trampoline, it was like somebody else's with like 3 holes in it or something. They told you not
to that trampoline went through went its ways. It definitely got some holes in it towards the end, and we just avoided that part of it.
But springs are missing.
Just a couple, yeah.
Right.
We put it through its paces. Last time we talked about Elimination Chamber, the only match that we saw that wasn't actually on the card was the Alpha versus Arcade Bro tag match.
Right.
That didn't happen. But the ones we saw that did, because we did this a couple weeks prior to Elimination Chamber happening, so they hadn't announced the full card or anything yet. We did Reigns and McIntyre, and that got changed, I believe. It was Reigns and someone else. But we still predicted Reigns would win, and we were not wrong.
Right.
So we'll give ourselves that one.
Props to us.
Yep. Lynch and Lita happened, and it played out exactly as we thought. Becky was going to win.
Yep.
And she did. And then the Chamber itself.
Ooh,
I called Brock, and you called Lashley.
Yeah, I can't remember what I think I predicted that Lashley might win and that he might like lose the title on a Raw or something like that right before WrestleMania. But man, okay, so let's talk about what actually happened in that match with Lashley. Looks like he's going to be out for a little while, man.
Who was it? It was Theory that got sent through the glass at him?
I think Brock or somebody got thrown through the glass and hit him, and I didn't, going into that, they kind of got me for a second there. I saw a couple of spoilers, but I'll just say this: I had to watch it late, and ended up catching that part and going like, okay, well, what in the world happened to Lashley? So saw it. I know. Was really confused because they're saying concussion or whatever, and
they talked concussion. What it turned out to be, because they played it off quite well, even though I thought the way it looked, if you were looking at the official broadcast and you didn't find out any of the background information, it looked a lot like he took a nasty hit to the leg.
Yeah.
Because of all that mess. And when they took him out, he was hobbling. So he played kayfabe with the leg pretty well. What it turns out, if anyone listening hasn't heard this, Lashley actually had to figure a way to write Lashley out of the match because he had to go get surgery on his shoulder, I believe it was, from all of that shit at the Rumble.
Yeah, that was a unfortunate thing because Lashley's kind of on fire right now, despite having lost the title anyway, and then being put into this kind of like, I guess, trio, triple threat, him, Roman, and Lesnar, and I'll tell you this, man, I'm enjoying Lesnar a lot. Like, I used to, for a while, I loved him when I was younger, and then when he came back, I just was like, oh gosh, he's like, you have this badass actual fighter, UFC champion coming in here, playing this role of the Beast, and that was what he is, but boy, did it get stale quick and just unenjoyable, and the part-timer deal just really sucked the fun out of the whole thing with Brock Lesnar for me. But seeing him now is much more enjoyable, just being himself, man. It seems like when these guys get to be themselves, they're a lot easier to watch and more enjoyable to watch. But the beard and the ponytail, the look change and everything, man, to me is just wow, this is the Brock I'm interested in seeing. Not thinking I would ever say that because I was we're always going to get this same version of Brock. Nonetheless, we are stuck with another rematch, which is a little disappointing. Oh,
yeah. The setup was mad boring. It's
predictable. Again, Chamber wasn't...
It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. I think the dumbest fucking thing from the entire Chamber was the bullshit way they did the Usos and Viking Raiders match.
Yeah, I think I fast-forwarded through that, man.
It didn't even happen. They just beat the shit out of them on the stage and walked off. It was fucking dumb.
I didn't I just like got online and like was in a group and was like, okay, was this as much of a shit show as it seemed to be? And like some people were like, I had a buddy text me and he goes, did you watch the Saudi show yet? And I was like, no. He's like, well, don't waste your freaking time, just read it. And I was like, man, like, and that's coming from a buddy of mine who feels kind of the same way we do about WWE. I mean, I try to come from an unbiased standpoint. I am more of an AEW fan, but I look at it like, you know, I still watch WWE. I still try to keep up with it, you know, and I'm always, you know, I'm always in hope. I'm like that little boy on Christmas hoping he gets the present he asked for. But,
exactly.
You know, he was like, don't feed into it. And I was like, it's probably gone the same way I thought it would. And the first spoiler I saw besides the Bobby thing was Brock holding the title, and I was like, well, damn it, you know. I'm like, well, there goes my prediction, but you know, I was like, oh, at least it went the other way that I figured it would go. And you know, I can actually say it's funny, like for the first time in 5-6 years now, it's like I'm actually excited for what's going on with Roman and Brock, but it took them long enough, but it's still not going to overshadow like Revolution coming up for me.
Yeah, the bad part about what you said though is you said the first time in 5 or 6 years I've been excited about Roman and Brock. That just goes to show you how many times they've gone to this same
It's too much. There's nobody new, man.
Pitiful.
It's like they showed the WrestleMania poster. Somebody threw it on there. They quote unquote teased it, but it's like, what's a tease? If it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. You know, it wasn't a spoiler. It was mostly a prediction. But they showed it, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at the card! It's the same freaking people that have been there." And you, in the back of my mind, it's like Papa H and NXT. They're creating all these stars to come up and fill up this roster and fill up these new posters, and it's the same damn people that were there 5-6 years ago. And I'm not saying they're not good at what they do. I'm not saying that they're, oh gosh, this is terrible. All these people suck. I'm not saying that. It's just like, it's like vanilla. It's like plain. It's like the same. It's like the same formula, different day. And it's like, okay, well, Vince is probably back there like, well, it didn't work this time. We're gonna make sure it works this time. Oh, it didn't work this time. Well, let's try it this way. It's like, how many ways can you skin the cat here? I know there's more ways than one, but like, this cat's done been beat to death.
Yeah, they've been flogging a dead horse for a long time. But that brings that. I think that's a good transition over to the big question. We see all the things that WWE fucks up on. And both of us come from that standpoint. If we grew up on it, we want them to do well, and because they're doing so badly, and we remember how good it used to be, we just get upset with them and we hate it.
Yep.
But that brings to mind, why do the people who are still like crazy diehard WWE fans want AEW? Or for that matter, I'll add a little caveat to the question you asked on one of the forums. Other companies to just straight up fail. Why?
I don't know, man. I posed that question to quite a few people that I know are some WWE diehard fans, and I had to take a step back, man, and look at it. And I wasn't asking just to aggravate people. I also wasn't asking to get stupid responses, But I posed the question because I'm in this group with quite a few people, and I'm sharing the podcast, saying, hey, go check this out. And again, coming from an unbiased standpoint, I am an AEW fan, so like I'm gonna have my rebuttal, be supportive of the question I asked, because I'm gonna say, hey, this is why, I kind of wanted to see what people were gonna say, but I knew what response I was gonna give anyway. But I did want some genuine answers. I said, hey, why do you want AEW to fail? And most of the answers were this: because of the fans. And I said, okay, let me take this into context here. Okay, so you want a company to fail because of its fans. That, to me, is a cop-out, because to me, it sounds the same. And maybe we can be more diehard on this, right? If you're a football fan, everybody hates a certain type of fan in football, Like my buddy, he's a Patriots fan. really hated the Eagles when the Patriots lost, and he said, I just can't stand their fans, so I don't like the Eagles. That is kind of understandable, but I'm like, well, what if they have like some really solid players? Like it's just like all the other sports, like Tom Brady going to the Bucks. It's like, did you like Tom Brady because he was on the Patriots, or did you like him because he was an amazing player, and now he's playing for another team that he's moved on, he's won you rings, yada yada yada. It's like, do people love wrestlers or do they love companies? And like those companies produce a specific type of fan. And I told these guys, I said, we have to take the fans out of the equation. They're like, oh, well, AEW fans are just so toxic. And there are some toxic AEW fans out there, but there are damn sure some toxic WWE fans. And I will say this, it's equal, but I look at it like, dude, WWE has been around for 40 years. This new kid on the block comes along, and it's like the first moment they mess up, it's like, oh, they suck, I hope they fail. And we do one good thing in AEW and we praise it, and it's like, well, you guys are on this high horse, you guys are talking shit about WWE, and you guys think it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. And I'm like, no, maybe people are tired of the same old shit.
We think it's the greatest thing of the past 15 or so years.
Right. And I think AEW's doing great, I mean, yeah, they've had their jack-ups.
I mean, every now and then they shit the bed. I'll be honest. I mean, fuck, how many, like, dangling storylines have they left over the past couple years? So fucking many. I mean, some of them they couldn't help. I mean, I hate to bring up the Brody Lee stuff, but, nobody expected that to happen. Nobody. But, no. I mean, that was the biggest tease ever, because I was ready to see him and Colt Cabana go at it, because the writing was on the wall with that one.
Yeah, it was going to be good, man. And,
yeah. It's just, it's one of those things, it's like they start things like now, this will be as far as I'm going to touch on it now unless we get some more time. Brandy starting out that little moment with Top Team all of like a week or two prior to them dipping.
Yeah, it was not very good, and we'll put it this way, in retrospect, to look on the WWE side of things, they play us like we're stupid. They'll stop a storyline just because Vince got tired of somebody and said, screw that guy, we'll see you later. And that's been done multiple times. I think AEW is just a little oversaturated, and it comes down to time management on TV. But as far as them wanting AEW to fail, my rebuttal was this: you have a company that's doing well and offering people jobs and money to put in their pockets and food on their table. All this talent that you loved in WWE, whether they go to Impact or New Japan or ROH or wherever they're going to go, AEW right now is I feel like the most successful in comparison to WWE in its competition. But I look at it like, why would you want them to fail? This person's getting opportunity that you probably once loved and cheered for. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, as soon as they, like, say if they do,
it's like fail, where do they go? Trade.
They don't want to go back to. They're not going to go back to WWE. WWE kicked them to the curb already. I mean, it's just like you're giving more opportunity and more success to people. And a few people that I know are diehard fans agreed with me there, and were like, "Oh, okay, I see what your point is." So I'm saying you shouldn't want AEW to fail in comparison to WWE. We should want there to be good competition, and it just boiled down to, it seemed like, the fans, and I feel like that's an argument that's going to be had till the day we all die, that we're all going to be supportive of one thing and hate each other for it.
Yeah, it's just like, for me, I'm just going to dislike any of this is the be-all, end-all fan. I only like this. It's the only thing I've ever liked. It's the only thing I'm going to like. That's where your toxicity comes from.
Yeah. It's
like, growing up, I loved WCW. I like WCW more than WWE. I mean, when I was real young, I enjoyed WWF way more because that's the only one that I ever saw on TV. I never really caught any of the late era NWA transitioning into WCW stuff. But once Nitro kicked off in the mid-90s, I started watching that. all the time. Nitro, Thunder, Saturday Night. Those were the things that me and my brother watched all the time. We had access, like, after, like, 94, we finally had access to, like, satellite so we could catch the stuff that was on cable. So,
yeah.
We started catching, like, WWF, transitioning to WWE stuff. We caught all of the Attitude Era. I still enjoy WCW more than Attitude Era WWE. Now,
hey, that's
do I have a soft spot for that era? Sure I do. But at the time, I liked WCW more, but I didn't hate on WWF. That was dumb because I liked it as well. I just liked one more than the other.
Yeah, and man, it's going to be like that probably for forever. And then you put it the best way, like, it's the end-all be-all for some folks. And it's kind of sad. It's closed-minded and it's sad because, hey, man, like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of diehard AEW fans that like that's their end-all be-all. And I've been thinking lately, too, you know, with this whole Cody thing going on and then thinking about, I saw a post with Adam Kerr and EC3. You know, Braun Strowman and EC3 possibly starting a company. And you know what I was thinking? You know, we touched on it a little bit during the, you know, before the show on, you know, people like, you know, maybe Triple H or Shane McMahon or Tony Khan buying and starting other companies besides AEW. And the possibilities are there. But, you know, to be a fan that's still WWE, still AEW only, it's like, man, there's some good stuff that could come out of this. You got to be more open-minded than it. But it's hard to argue with those people because, like I said, you're pitting a 40-year-old company against a 3-year-old company, and you already want that 3-year-old company to fail. And it's sad.
It's weird. It's like everyone thinks it's going to be, you know, a Jack and the Beanstalk sort of situation. It really isn't. If anyone's going to weather the storm truly, if one of them was going to fail outright, it'll be the new kid before the old dog.
They're tried and true. They're tried and true.
It's just that's the nature of the beast. I mean, I hope EC3 and Adam's company does well. I need to actually, as I've mentioned many times on this phone, talk to my dad and get in touch with Adam's dad so that way I can ask him a question, see what he thinks about it.
Just get him on the show.
I wish I could, man.
That would be fantastic, dude.
I've been trying, but I have not crossed paths with his dad in a while to try and grease any wheels. There's no way to say it where it doesn't sound bad, but I was just going to say he's big time, we're small time. It'd be hard. But, I mean, there's probably some angle I could work, and like I said, I've been casually pursuing it for a while now. Maybe I can still make it work now that, you know, things are the way they are.
I'm hoping for you, man. If you get on with him, holla at your boy.
For sure. But
anyway.
Yeah, I hope they do well. I think they've got a good idea going, but their best bet is to, in my opinion, do it as more of a traveling faction as opposed to a promotion that doesn't sign people.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of running into an issue. Is like
it's like I like the idea of it, but I just, as of right now, mentally, I can't wrap my head around how it could really work. I mean, the overhead will be next to none because you don't have anyone under contract and you're hiring them in as gig workers, basically. So your money from ticket sales is just going to go to arena and production costs and then whatever you're paying them for that gig. So
yeah, traveling.
It could work, but it sounds almost like, let's call it the Warped Tour of wrestling.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Traveling faction show gimmick. Like, I mean...
It's like a traveling concert festival. I mean, I'm
not opposed to it at all, dude.
I kind of want to see how it works. It's just like
I'm up for new stuff. So we'll see how it goes. It's nothing set in stone, and that's the good part about that anticipation is we kind of get to see. We kind of get to see what's going to happen, man. I mean, it's just like watching AEW form. You never know what's going to happen, and we can predict stuff. And it seems like it seems like WWE is the easiest to predict, but everything else, we'll see, man. We'll see, and it just does nothing but make wrestling more exciting.
I agree.
So, and maybe give more opportunity to these guys that are released or that we haven't seen yet. That they got a story to tell that cut short. Other than just getting in the ring and jobbing out, I don't want to see that. But I'm hoping for the best, yet to come. Where we're finally, I feel like, getting out of this really insane phase of COVID.
Yeah,
it's like back to normal again. And I went to a show last week. So that was awesome to go to, man, and be back in it.
Yeah, I mean, that show you went to was Dynamite, was it not?
Yes, it was, man.
All right. Well, tell us all about how last week's Dynamite went down for you live, because they recorded Dynamite and Rampage together that night, right?
Yeah, man. It was so it was a really cool night, dude. I'll try to keep it short and simple. But so me and my wife, I got tickets really early. I was on the road to California actually, and I saw where the Nashville Municipal Auditorium was going to be. Very historical arena. Was going to be the inn for Dynamite. This was before I really kind of realized Rampage was probably going to be at the same time, because I saw where tickets were being sold elsewhere for Dynamite Rampage combo, and mine just said Dynamite. And I got closer to the show time, and I was like, I wonder if I'm only going to get to see Dynamite. But going into it, we were both, me and my wife were both really excited. Before we started seeing each other, she was not a wrestling fan at all, and I said, "You're going to be wearing wrestling shirts in a few months," and sure enough, I was right. And we went to a few live shows before. We went to Dynamite when Cody got lashed. I also went to the show beforehand where I think it was Cody got strangled when Wardlow, Big War Dog, one of my favorite guys, got to debut, and it was awesome, man. So going into it, we got to think about the roster a little bit, and I was like, man, I'm really excited. For the first time in my life, I get to see CM Punk, hopefully. I get to see, guys from the Undisputed Era who I've been dying to see. Adam Cole, baby. Get to see him, And then, they just recently acquired Keith Lee. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him, but, I was like, I don't know what to expect, but, this is going to be really cool. We got there, man. The card looked stacked. It was stacked. Most of the Dynamites and Rampages, for me, Dynamite has been really good. Rampage has been somewhat hit or miss.
Rampage is hit or miss for sure.
It's got its slow nights.
When it hits a good Rampage, you're like, damn, that was the fastest hour on TV.
It is, man, and I feel like this week's Rampage, or should I say last week's Rampage, was very good. So we got there, and we got in there. We got some seats. We were on the hard camera side in a front row riser section, right by the floor seats. So we got a perfect view of the stage to the left and the ring to the right. And I snagged those tickets on the road in California for $65 each. It was quite a bit more with the fees and stuff, but I didn't care.
Those fees are absurd.
Yeah, and I mean, I was sitting there thinking okay, ringside's $500, and dude, anybody listening, let me tell you, ringside, unless you are front row ringside, do not get those seats if they are on the ramp, because there was two people almost got into a fight because they, if you got to use the bathroom, you got to get up and cross all these people to the right of you, even though you're close to the stage, and you got to get up and turn around just to see the stage. So where we were at was perfect, and it was fun, man. We got there. The show kicked off with Tony Khan. He came out. I did not realize that the show had started. I still haven't gone back and watched the beginning, but he comes out talking, and I'm like, wow, he never comes out to start the show. And he starts talking, and he's like, CM Punk. And I was like, oh, shit, here we go. Got up, whipped out the camera, I about recorded everything. I'll have to send you some pictures. I still got to compile an album to post with everything. But, they did that. MJF came out. Dog collar match is happening. And then we go from there, man. All the other matches occurred. We, one after the other. Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson came out. I usually call him BD, which I think is funny, or I just call him Brian. I go, the old BD coming out. He came out and had a great match with.
That match with Lee Moriarty was great.
And man, let me tell you something. The weirdest thing that occurred, I was watching the Bryan Danielson match, and the weirdest thing occurred. For people that go to the live shows, you don't hear the announcers, right? Mm-hmm. But you hear the guys in the ring, and you just know it's Bryan Danielson when you hear him screaming and yelling, and you guys want more? You like that? Like hearing him, and it's different because the announcers really hype up the match, but you feel when I go to an AEW show and you see somebody like Bryan Danielson coming out putting on a show, I mean, really doing their best work. You just feel the crowd, man, and it's cool. It's weird because there's this eerie silence, but at the same time, like, you're part of the show at that point. You make the show good or bad, and then you have guys debuting like Jay White. He came on the screen and cut a promo, which was really good. Adam Cole came out and interrupted Adam Page, and you got cheers, you got boos, you got all this good stuff going on, man. I was in heaven. I got to see guys I've been wanting to see for a long time, and we're talking about my first show live back since COVID. It closed the world down, and man, it felt really special, but it was just a lot of fun, man. Like, I didn't know what the Rampage card was going to be, and to know that Jay White was going to be the main event with Trent Beretta, who is also another phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah, I still have not seen Jay White wrestle live yet, and I want to so bad. So
it's great, dude. It's great, especially since you're a New Japan fan. Like, the people go like, "Who is Jay White?" And I'm just like, okay, if I could put like this slide dashing like devilish dude from New Zealand on there, and like, I love his ring gear, I like his entrance music. I think Jay White, man, like, you mix him, and he's got like a little Conor McGregor flair to him.
He does have a bit.
And when you see him in person, dude, he's just like, and that's another thing I noticed. Like, when you see Jay White, like, a lot of these people think these guys are like skinny little dudes, man. These guys are big, man. Like Bryan Danielson, Jay White, all these dudes are like shredded to the bone, and actually, like, that's the lighting on TV that drowns them out. But these guys are in top notch shape, man, and especially Trent Beretta, man. That guy is peeled.
Beretta's super jacked.
Oh, dude, yeah, like, they're all really jacked, man. Sammy has gotten, I don't know what Sammy's eaten, but he has gotten pretty jacked too, man. He's like, it's like he's a little bit bigger, but he's just more cut. And that match with him and Darby was so good, dude. And seeing Sting, that gave me goosebumps, because it's like, I was tripping out looking to the left, seeing Big Show and Taz, right, like, literally, and all of them right there, like, 20 feet away. Like, I could just, if I wanted to, go up and say, "Hey, what's up?" and that was just really special. I mean, and you see guys like CM Punk, and for me, the Undisputed Era there, you got to see Red Dragon and Adam Cole. I was like, man, like, it just was awesome, dude. And then the surprise with Rampage coming on and it being that card that it was fun. The TNT title match was really fun. I actually got to see the promo with John Kreese from Cobra Kai. He cut a promo with Britt Baker.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good.
And dude, like 20 minutes later, he walks out and he's like right in front of me. And my wife gets a picture of him, and I was fumbling with my phone. I was like, Kreese, and he points and says, like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, he's walking like he's drunk or whatever. But I think he's at that age. I think he's got a little arthritis, but I couldn't get my phone around fast enough. And I'm one of those guys, man. When there's somebody walking by, like, I don't want to be rude and jump in front of them to get a picture. They're there to have a good time too. I mean, I know that they're in the business of entertainment and they get that, but I don't want to be that guy. And seeing him was really cool. The crowd was pretty active. We did have a really, really drunk guy in front of us that kept shouting "wrestling" the whole time. I thought my wife was going to kill this dude, but I was like, I don't want to get kicked out. And he, at one point, you may could see him in the show if you look back. He was wearing like this blue Roosevelt's like multi-print. I think it was like Hacksaw Jim Duggan blue shirt and a headband. He looked like I can't remember his name. He's from Pineapple Express, but
yeah, I know the one. Yeah,
I can't remember his name. He was in Tropic Thunder and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he runs around. He's like,
he's from Shelby. I used to live about an hour from there. Danny McBride.
Yes, Danny. He looked like Danny McBride without the goatee. And this dude, he's like wobbling drunk. He runs to go get beer, and then he ends up on like the freaking camera, the camera side, and he's jumping around that wave. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like the only wrench in the mud during this show. But oh yeah, dude, and seeing Wardlow too, like, and Sean Spears coming out in the Nashville Predators jersey. It was a good time, man. It was a good time.
I know what you're saying. Like when. Let's see. First time I saw Sting live was last summer at the Charlotte show for Fight for the Fallen. But then December rolled around and I went to Holiday Bash, and I got to see CM Punk, Darby, and Sting wrestle in that triples match.
Oh man, that was probably sweet.
That was super sweet. And then that was Kyle O'Reilly's debut. Oh, so I got to see all three of them in O'Reilly's first, run in. And it was a great night. So, I mean, there's nothing better than when you catch that lucky Dynamite where everything really happens. It's like...
I did, man.
I was at the very first Dynamite, and I was on TV, like, apparently 3 or 4 times in the crowd.
That's cool, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
I never got that. Not at the Dynamite, at least. I always sat, like, kind of a little bit higher up out of the way, but... at the end of the night, we left, and like the parking lot was pretty full even before the show. Like they said, doors open at 5. Man, we were getting in there like right before 7, and just taking it all in and stuff, and hoping to see some stars. But that didn't really happen. Like we after the show ended, we great Dynamite, great Rampage. We went down to the ring. Tony called out a few people. He got Jurassic Express, Best Friends out there, and I was funny. I was standing like right by Justin Roberts. He just kept walking around me and by. Yeah, it wasn't bugging anybody. But Jungle Boy came up, and we missed a picture opportunity with him. But like there were people swarming, and you got to be really aggressive with the pictures. But I mean, they, I feel like they're happy to be where they're at. But sometimes they're just like it's too much for them, And the one person I really wanted to meet, Tony Khan, was going around the ring talking to people. But again, we were on the hard camera side. The opposite side where everybody's on TV, he was actually over there, where like all the action really is, and I wanted to meet him, but we missed an opportunity with him. He called Hook out. Hook wasn't on the show.
Yeah,
but,
he did that at Holiday Bash. He called.
It was funny, man.
Out.
It was funny, man. I like Hook, and anyway. We missed some photo ops, but we were leaving. And I said, "Hey, babe, let's go to the back of the stadium like last time. It's where I met Cody and Best Friends and a few other guys." And on the way up there, they had like the street kind of blocked off for the semis, and a lot of people were walking that way to get to their cars. But it was me and my wife and a few other people. We were walking up the road, and here comes this group, and Rachel's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. I was like, "What?" Here comes Jamie Hayter. And, like, I think there were 3 or 4 other people. I could not tell who they were. They kind of, like, branched off real fast. And lo and behold, here comes Darby Allin holding the cardboard cutout of MJF headlocking CM Punk. And I got a picture with Darby, and I forgot I was wearing a Darby shirt. And he said the same exact thing he said to me when I met him in Huntsville. He was like, "Dude, I like the shirt, man. Thank you for buying that, And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I was like, dude, let me get a picture with you, man." And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So he just made this, like, straight face, no smile, but he was so proud of that cardboard cutout, he like shoved it in the picture, and everybody I've shown that picture to is like, "Yo, you met CM Punk and MJF and they were getting it." I was like, no, it's Darby. He stole it and was running around with it. He was like walking towards the crowd, man, that was towards the entrance. I was like, this dude must love fans or just not care, because he stole a cardboard cutout, was walking around, swinging it around, goofing off and having a good time. But
I think he's just really having a good time. He's in a good place.
He really is, man, and more props to him. I'm just happy for guys like him. And Sammy got pretty bad injury. He got a scratch. I think Darby scratched his cornea, and we saw him and Ty outside. And Anna Jay came by. My buddy Chad was like annoying the hell out of her and Jungle Boy. He kept just going, Anna, And everybody's cracking up because she would not pay any attention to him. And, we saw Ty and Sammy a little bit further away, but he looked in rough shape, man. Like, he looked okay, he was standing there, being all affectionate with Ty. It's good for him, and but we felt bad for him, man. He looked like he took some hard bumps that night. We couldn't tell,
that match was rough on him.
We couldn't tell what it was, dude. I was like, it looked like he hurt his shoulder really bad or his back, but I mean, maybe he did, but I didn't realize the eye thing was the prominent thing.
I think with the number of heavy duty matches he's had over the past little bit,
yeah,
I could almost see him dropping the TNT title to Andrade.
I mean, in a way, I love Andrade too. I feel like he needs that boost right now, and yeah. I hope that they give that to him and Sammy can take a break. Sammy's one of my favorite guys on the roster, dude. I really like.
Ever since he has grown on me ever since he lost that fucking panda head.
Yeah, man, me too. I thought that was kind of silly when he came in, but I have his autograph with that panda head on, and I like it because I'm like, yo, that's from his debut match. That's cool. And shout out to Ben Bowman for getting me that in one of the groups. Sammy, I remember watching that match and going, who is this kid? I've heard about him. I've not really watched his stuff. I was thinking he was going to be some cocky punk ass, not really that good, that was just going to do bunch of flips and stuff. Man, Sammy impressed the hell out of me, and he's been my go-to dude ever since. And I got to meet him and bring him some Bang energy and stuff at the convention I went to. Sammy and Darby are really cool guys, man. And I just hope, like I said, I hope the best for him. Hopefully he's not hurt too bad because he's got a lot of years left, and These matches are taking a toll on him, dude. So if he drops the belt to Andrade, good for Sammy to get some rest, and good for Andrade to get that title.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for them to do it. I mean, it would make it better if they did it at Revolution.
Yeah.
But if they go ahead and do it now, it'll still be pretty solid. But that being said, let's talk a little bit about what Revolution's looking like right now. Other than, I don't know too much about the first night of what Dynamite caused to happen tonight.
Yeah.
But as of, say, we'll call this yesterday, or pre-Dynamite tonight,
yeah.
We've got Keith Lee versus Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus three other determined people. Did they determine one of those tonight?
Yeah, do you want to know who it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
It is going to be Ricky Starks.
Oh, that is right.
I was hoping for 10, but that's...
Yeah, I was secretly hoping for 10, too, because, just the Battle of the Hosses would have been ridiculous. Boys. But they've got to put someone in there to really, back up Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, and you got to have somebody that can climb the ladder without getting gassed, right?
Exactly. Then they're going to have to run through a lot. I guarantee you they're saving one of these spots as a surprise entrance that's not going to be announced until night of, because next week they'll definitely drop one more person in.
Yep.
And then it's that, Saturday or Sunday?
Yep.
So,
I think so.
I think that's what's going to happen. This could be the moment that everyone keeps hoping for, because I know the big rumor mill has been churning for quite some time. This could be the moment for Gargano, even though they did bring in Buddy Matthews tonight. It could be the moment. Most people are saying Gargano is holding out just because, him and his wife had that baby on the way, and the baby has been born. So
we'll see.
I don't know,
man. But I heard the rumor mill of Jeff Hardy possibly still.
It could be, but I think that would be smarter to debut in the three-way tag match.
A very good point. And so Revolution being set up with this ladder match coming up. If Gargano does debut, I will be one happy man. I really worry about that oversaturation, though.
I know. It's
because it's loaded, man. And I didn't get to see Keith Lee when we went, and that's my dude, bro. But he got a little screen time tonight. I think you'll be happy when you get around to watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy Matthews' debut was excellent. He turned on Pac and Penta. And I kind of saw it coming because I was like, is this it? Are we going to get this third House of Black member? And as far as I know, that's the direction they're going, because I was kind of curious. I was curious as to who it was going to be. I kept thinking it was not going to be him.
I wouldn't have expected it to have been him, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, Buddy Matthews is looking absolutely jacked too. He ain't a cruiserweight anymore by any means. He is freaking big, dude.
Yeah. Who came out on top for the tag team for the Battle Royal?
That is going to be Red Dragon. So
I had a feeling. So Red Dragon's going up against Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and then we have that one TBD, which I really feel like probably will be another surprise unless they do another thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Week.
They're full of surprises and debuts and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm here for it. I will say I was rooting for Santana and Ortiz, but
I was too.
I like them a lot, man. I think they're overdue on there. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like right now Jurassic Express is as over as they were before the cage matches and stuff they had. Because they had some really good matches and they were really over, and I feel like they dropped the ball a little bit on them. I'm glad they have the titles now, but right now, like Ortiz and Santana, they're pretty hot right now, but they do have that feud of the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. So.
I feel like Santana and Ortiz, if they get the belts, it's going to be more of an underdog story that kind of comes a little, I'm not going to say out of nowhere, but it's not going to be something that's telegraphed through a big triple threat tournament.
Right, yeah. It'll be like a little bit more organic, maybe on like a Dynamite or something like
I think them not getting through in the Eliminator tournament is going to be something that they're going to use in promos to, come off as getting slighted.
Yeah.
It's going to help that feud between them and that division with the Inner Circle that much more.
I think so.
And I feel like their time is coming very, very soon. It's just, it's not going to be just yet. I would say at the absolute earliest for them, Double or Nothing. But most likely, if the titles change hands at Revolution, say to Red Dragon or someone else, it will probably not be until summer, or at least All Out before.
I don't feel, man, I'm just going to throw it out there. So my prediction for Revolution on the by the way, I'm loving the Santana and Ortiz face paint. Shout out to their makeup artist, because that looks sick with the vests. I don't think that Santana and Ortiz are going to get the titles until, like you said, quite a while. I feel like right now it would be, I don't know, man. I want to see where the storyline's going to go with the backstage segments with the Bucks and Red Dragon, because what they have, I feel like, isn't necessarily. I mean, the titles can come into the picture in Red Dragon. Oh, we got the titles. We're better than you guys, and then them have this feud with the Bucks. But then you sideline Santana and Ortiz a little bit to. That's how it felt tonight. Is like they got a little bit sidelined for this other storyline. Yeah. And I care, dude. It's weird. It's like I said in one of the threads. I was like, man, I really care about all these tag teams. Like I really do, and that's cool to feel that way again. And
AEW has been known to do really good stuff with tag.
They really do, man. It's fantastic right now. There's a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Just because I want Santana and Ortiz to do well. They're AEW, they're not AEW originals. They didn't come up purely through AEW. They came up through the other indies, but they've been AEW since more or less day one.
Right, exactly.
Of at least Dynamite day one. So they deserve it. They got, like, the angle they've worked's been pretty long term, where, one of the last times they had a push, Jericho threw himself in there to have that little, who's going to be the tag team of the Inner Circle that's going to go after these belts. And then ever since, they've been just kind of getting the snub, but they've been getting more and more, like, just fucking shredded out, mean as fuck.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm loving it, man. They're like gritty and just Santana's gotten bigger. I feel like Ortiz has gotten leaner.
Ortiz has leaned out like crazy. Like when I saw it, like I hadn't seen him in a while. Then he popped back up lean as hell. I was like, damn, look at him. Part of me is like it happened like all of a sudden. I noticed it so suddenly. I was like, I hope the fuck he's not doing blow or something, just dropping weight like crazy.
Yeah, dude.
No, he's looking lean and fucking mean.
And Santana's looking freaking bad and buff, dude. And let me tell you this, makes you realize how long they've been out of the woodwork here, because they come back and they look, and you think back, you're like, yo, they're on fire right now. They've been out for a minute, like. That's what makes me enjoy them so much more now, and seeing them live too. I was like, "Yo, that face paint, these guys like, and they sell those promos too, man. They maybe more Santana, but that's a good thing. Like Ortiz is awesome because he's kind of like the punchline, he's kind of like what he said, but like way cooler than that, of course, and that's what I love about him. You can't have two guys like killing it on the mic. I mean, as great as that is, it's just like. But I love them both, man, and that was a team I never thought I'd like so much, and they're doing great. I really wanted them to win the battle royale, but hey, man, got love for the Bucks. I right now I love Red Dragon. I love Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Yeah, Undisputed Era.
When it comes to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, first time I saw them wrestle was actually New Japan. So long before Undisputed Era popped up. And goddamn, they were great. I think the match I saw them do, it was them against Ricochet and someone else. I can't think of who it was.
Oh, dude.
But it was Ricochet and someone else against those two. And it was just phenomenal.
That's awesome, man. I really wish I could see Ricochet live, man. That's somebody yet that I have to see.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I would love for him to leave WWE because I really don't think they've done a good job with him.
No, he's jobber to the max right now, getting bumped.
Nah.
He's a good seller, but any of those guys, man, like you said, like any of those guys. Like Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, any of the guys from the NXT 2018 class and up, or 2017 and up, like Andrade, Gargano, all those guys, Aleister Black, man, all these guys right now, I know they're not all getting pushed to the moon, they're all in these high spots right now, but they deserve it, man. To me, trying to come from an unbiased standpoint and having been a fan of NXT, like it's great to see them in AEW, but you go, man, these guys could have been ruling the main roster on WWE, and like I'm so glad that they get to shine elsewhere. I just really hope that they don't, what I was trying to get to earlier, like with the whole Revolution pay-per-view coming up, I hope they don't put the titles on Red Dragon or the title on Adam Cole yet. I mean, I want to see it and I don't want to see it. I feel like people are getting a little stale with Adam Page, but
Page hasn't had that title long enough for me to get stale with him. It's just they haven't put him in the right program yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not stale with it. I just feel like just the vibe around, like when I was there live, it was fun. I don't know, man. You can just feel it in some of his promos and a lot of the comments too. Like just like I'll be in a thread and people be saying, man, I'm not sold on Adam Page as champion. I mean, I am. The build-up was great. I love Adam Page, but I still feel like it would be, like you said, he hasn't had it long enough, and I feel like giving it to Cole right now would be a mistake, that would just be a little bit pandery to the NXT crowd, and it would further, add fuel to the AEW hate from the WWE diehards. Be like, look, they can't even make their own talent over; they have to give it to our. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Like, and I'm just like, okay.
It's bittersweet because the guy deserves it. Like he'd be a great champion. He's great on the mic, and obviously if they gave the tag team championships to the Red Dragon crew over here, you'd be hearing the same thing on both ends now. It's the Undisputed Era, all gold, all over again. It's like I mean I don't know, dude. It's just like you don't want to see it.
No, I'm secretly hoping, even though they've played it up, I'm secretly hoping that he let's call it water under the bridge with the infamous Adam Cole being murdered by the poison Monster energy drink on BTE years ago.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that. Let's have it, since he brought Jay White in, and this will be a nice segue into talking about Impact for a moment. Let's go ahead, and since he also name dropped Bullet Club and said they all made an oath that it was for life, let's have him show his Bullet Club colors, back Jay White, convince the Bucks to come along with, and then pretty much, stab Red Dragon in the back. It would be perfect. They're too buddy-buddy right now, and we've seen them buddy-buddy for a long time.
Yeah.
Stab him in the back in the opposite direction. It's a retread because it's Bullet Club, but they want Jay White to make a super Bullet Club. Like the best version of Bullet Club in years. And as of right now, they can build it across 3 promotions. Impact, AEW, and New Japan.
Man, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, dude. And you know what? Okay, what would be even crazier is, I don't know what's going on with Roddy, but I could totally see, if Roddy, I think they said his contract's set to expire at some point, right?
Yeah. I think it's coming up before too long, yeah.
Could you imagine, like, if his goes down the drain and he joins AEW and it's Roddy and Red Dragon, and then you've got them versus this Bullet Club, new Bullet Club faction, and then we're all going to be awaiting the return of Kenny Omega too, man. It's such good shit.
Yeah, it's the good shit that Vince McMahon thinks he sees.
And man, I didn't even think about that. That is a dang good point. And I mean, hey man, you never know what could happen. I was, kind of playing around with factions and stuff. You mentioned Gargano. I could see Gargano teaming up with Red Dragon. The NXT guys. There's these new possibilities. And then I said it earlier in the thread. I said, could you imagine a 15 to 20 pound heavier Daniel Garcia and Hook teaming up with Daniel Bryan as a faction?
Oh yeah, I've been saying Daniel Garcia needs to team up with Bryan Danielson for a while now. And Hook, if he gets a little more experience under his belt, just because he's coming up in that Taz way, that's a little more grappling based, kind of true wrestling.
Yeah,
it would make sense. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it one more, just in case you haven't heard it yourself. My dream faction for AEW right now with Bryan Danielson is him, Daniel Garcia, Layla Hirsch, and then since his contract is up and he's back in Canada as of right now, go ahead and get Josh Alexander. Think about that. He is not under contract with Impact right now. His work visa left, so he had to go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Now, AEW could easily scoop him up. And if they did that, right there, those few people, because Layla Hirsch, they play up her amateur wrestling a ton.
Yeah.
She shows it. I think it would be a good mentorship for her to have to work with Daniel Bryan and company, or Bryan Danielson and company. Hell, if you wanted to, and she played it off as working with a group real well, put Serena Deeb in there too. Get your more grounded, traditional pro wrestling style people together into one faction, kind of like with what ROH did with their faction that was started by Lethal and Gresham.
Yeah,
I can't think of the name right now. Has a R in it or whatever it was.
Brain farts.
Yeah, they're the worst. They're the worst. But hell, Jonathan Gresham's running some mini promotion right now anyway, so they wouldn't be able to get him. But fuck, if they could get Jonathan Gresham in there too, Jesus Christ, you'd have the most stacked, classic professional wrestling style stable.
Yeah, man.
shake a stick at. It would be
I agree.
fucking amazing.
It would be really good too, man. I think as long as they don't go the little Alpha Academy route with it, I love Chad Gable. I think the whole thing with him and Otis right now in the WWE, it's kind of comical. It's good, but I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, like you said, like I want there to just be this faction that's just like pure wrestling dominance, because Bryan Danielson is fun to watch, but like you see these guys like Daniel Garcia that could really use, like when he was he's with 2.0 or whatever, it's great, but like he's never going to get to that next level like he needs to without being in some sort of fashion with Bryan. He needs
a mentorship.
He does, and Hook's okay. I think Hook's still okay on his own, but like I could see him joining up, and man, AEW is full of factions. I mean, whether they're great or they suck, but I don't want there to be too many. I mean, it'll get kind of muddled, because
I mean, if you get too many, it's not a bad thing, but then you run into the New Japan problem where they've got so many factions.
Yeah.
It's a little hard for everything because, I mean, you've got Suzuki-gun, you've got LIJ, you've got Bullet Club, you've got Chaos. Let's see, who else? Depending on if Bullet Club splits in Japan, you've got House of Torture spinning off from Bullet Club.
What about Empire with
the United Empire with Will Ospreay and everybody. Yeah, I forgot about them.
Jeff Cobb and dude, that's so many factions. I mean, AEW okay, so that leads me to say this too. I hope Matt Hardy, if they give the titles to Andrade, I really hope he's just like, F you, Matt, and Matt's like, oh man, this whole house of or whatever HOF is
AHFO, that really long ass acronym.
I hope he's like, man, it's not going the way I want it to. You guys aren't making me money, blah, blah, blah. And he splits off, and we don't see him for a while. And then Private Party, who is also a very good tag team, could shine a little bit on their own again and not be. I feel like as a heel group, they're kind of silly. I really like them. I want to see Matt get back to the broken gimmick, and I'd like to see him just split it up because Butcher and the Blade is just goofy being in a business.
Yeah, I want them to be back on their own. I really do, because they have potential to be a fucking bruiser of a tag team. They would go well with House of Black, I think.
Oh, dude, yeah. They have really good looks to them as far as like being a darker kind of gimmick. I feel like you got to have people kind of match with each other. Like, we're setting up factions, and sometimes it's kind of obvious. But, you've got a guy... The Butcher and the Blade, you got a guy in a leather apron and a guy in leather pants, and they're kind of dark and gritty, and then you got them with Matt Hardy wearing a suit. It just doesn't go together, it just doesn't, and they've been jumbled around a little bit, so hopefully some things shake up here pretty soon, and I think maybe Andrade is the catalyst to break them up. There could be a feud between him and Matt, and then like I said, that maybe sets Matt over the edge. This guy's coming infiltrated my faction, and you guys haven't been there to back me up, and I've tried to make you better and bigger stars, and you guys have failed me. I'm done, and then him storm off, and then we don't see him until maybe Jeff Hardy shows up. I mean, I don't know, man, but a guy can dream, right?
Yeah, a man can dream. I know we touched on it real lightly when we mentioned Super Bullet Club, but that brings me to one of the final topics to touch on tonight was Impact had no surrender this past weekend. And there's just a couple high notes that I really want to hit with this. One, the intergender match with Matt Cardona and Jordan Grace.
I saw most of that. I missed the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it as well. I need to find some time to sit down and really take it in. But all I can say is that match right there is like telling me other companies need to do them because it worked really well. And
surprisingly, yes, yeah. I was very surprised, man. That's some of the stuff I saw. I was like, wow, that actually works really well.
Yeah, and like it didn't look like he was wrestling down to her at all. Like it looked like they were on almost an equal platform.
Well, she's a beast, man.
Yeah, no joke. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying she's, with the inequality there on their like size and stuff. I'm not saying she's some giant chick or something, and Matt Cardona's weak. But like, I mean, if you were to pit him against anybody smaller and more frail, it wouldn't be as believable. And Jordan, she can work, man, and she is strong, and she is a good champion. And to me, like, when I saw the move, I was like, man, they're really doing this intergender match. Okay, let's see how this goes, And sure enough, I was like, oh wow, I like that. Like you said, that fits really well. But I think you really got to be careful though with who you pair up for those matches.
Yeah, truly. Like, you can't just throw anyone in there and hope it works. That right there was a good pairing. Cardona knows how to work. She knows how to work. And together they put on a damn fine program. And Cardona's been firing on all fucking cylinders lately. It's crazy.
Oh, dude,
it's like, yeah. I am super stoked for the Crockett Cup coming up. I am definitely going to buy the pay-per-view so I can watch the fuck out of it. Because, one, they haven't announced all the tag teams for it yet. They announced a bunch of them this weekend. I shared the link on the YouTube page. Corgan, Joe, the other announcer, I forgot his last name, and one other guy, one of the new announcers for NWA. They were all going through all the announcements. There's like 2 empty slots left, and I'm wondering who it could be. Because, I mean, one, the Briscoes are there.
Yeah.
So if it's mostly NWA tag teams, which is good because in previous years, NWA's tag team roster wasn't great. So you had quite a bit of ROH talent, some Impact tag teams, New Japan tag teams, etc. This year, it's mostly NWA tag teams, which, that's a good thing. They're putting over their own talent. But with the Crockett Cup, the way it has been done in the past, you need some more external elements. You've got the Briscoes. They're not under contract with anybody. It makes sense to have them in there. They were in the last one. Who were going to be the 2 mystery spots? So I'm hoping for maybe we'll finally get FTR versus the Briscoes at the Crockett Cup.
That would be so exciting.
Because it is an old school tournament, and they're old school dudes. It would be fucking solid.
Dude, yeah, that gets me so pumped for that. That feud right there, man, because everybody's like, oh, the Briscoe's going to show up on AEW. I don't know yet, everything, it's still, even like a year or two later, out of all these debuts and stuff, like, it just still keeps going, and it, like, I feel like, we did talk about the oversaturation, but I feel like the people that they're signing or the people that show up as a surprise, like, and nothing is bad, like, nothing is too detracting. It's not like somebody shows up and they're like, oh, well.
I will say this before I circle back to the last thing I want to talk about with Impact, but you're right, just talking on what you're mentioning about the oversaturation. The thing about AEW, even though they're oversaturating, they don't get all their people on TV all the time, unlike WWE, they let these people that they can't get on TV all the time go and work at other promotions that they want to work at. They don't tell them, it's like, you're with us, you can't do anything but stuff that we do. No, they're like, hell, go work, man. It's wrestling. You're going to put yourselves over. You're going to put us over. It's going to bring eyes on our product. And also, we might get eyes on people we like elsewhere, and we might, throw them a bone. It's a symbiotic relationship.
It's got to be that way, man, to me. But, I mean, I get it from the business standpoint because you don't want your guys out there getting hurt. And
no, you don't.
Your show, but they got to make money, man. I'm all about people succeeding and putting food on their table for their families because this business takes so much from people. And that like the question I said earlier, like, why would you want them to fail? Dude, like, 2020 was hard enough for a lot of people, and then you got people like, oh, I hope this company fails. I don't want to see them succeed. I hate them. These guys suck, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, life's short. wrestling's fun. Just enjoy it. And, it's too short for it to all suck everywhere, and not allowing these guys to work and stuff. I mean, they might be getting paid, but, sometimes they make like a killing from a signing, because I've been to them, man. And if they get that opportunity taken away, like you said, it doesn't allow other eyes, you don't get people meeting them to say, oh, these guys are great, and takes eyes off of them, because, like, I can't remember too many times you get that opportunity to meet a lot of people and then wrestle matches or do small little dream matches in the indies.
I still want AEW to go ahead and sign Warhorse, because I want Warhausen to run fun tag team matches.
Warhorse, I've seen him at an indie show too locally, and Danhausen locally. Man, they're both great. Danhausen's hilarious, man. He's going to be a treat to watch in the ring. They just really, really got to set him up for the right type of feud. Right now, I love the comic relief from him. Orange Cassidy's enough, and he's a serious, guy in the ring when he wrestles and has those outbursts of, quick energy in the later part of the matches. Like, he's a more serious guy now than when he started. Like, we've all seen him in the ring. Danhausen, we haven't seen him in the ring in AEW yet, so like, it makes you wonder: are they going to keep him comic relief, or are they going to actually give him a legitimate match? And is he going to be a viable entity for AEW? Because I love Danhausen, man, and if Warhorse gets in there, then great, man. Because Warhorse, that dude can work too. So,
and I mean, like, I thought he did a stellar job when he wrestled Cody during the Open Challenge, and then it made me super fucking sad when they had Andrade just fucking squash his ass on Dark. But
it's got to happen, man. It's freaking Andrade, and they got to make the guy they just signed a contract with making him a bunch of money. He's got to look good, So
that's true. That's true.
Anyway, your last point, you were talking about, I think, was it Bullet Club?
Yes. At No Surrender, there were two matches. One, you had Jay White versus Eric Young. Jay White, defeats Eric Young. Jay always looks good in the ring. But the biggest one of them all was former Bullet Club Tag Masters Extraordinaire, the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, going up against the current Bullet Club Tag Masters, the GOD, the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Well, it seemed like GOD had it in the bag, but there was interference by someone we never would have expected. Jay White rolled in, boom, Blade Runner on Tangaloa.
Yep.
And the Good Brothers get the win, retain their titles, and as such, Jay White welcomed them back into Bullet Club and kicked the GOD out of Bullet Club.
What a turn of events, my man.
I know. I never would have thought GOD would be kicked out of Bullet Club. But from the story standpoint of Jay, and this is something I read someone else's take on it, and I was like, that makes fucking sense. Jay solidified himself as leader of Bullet Club doing this. He cut out the one element that has been the deciding factor of backstabbing throughout Bullet Club, the GOD.
Very good point.
And, like, every leader has been stabbed in the back and kicked out of Bullet Club. Almost, from what I can tell and what I remember, at the behest of Tama Tonga and his ways.
Right.
But this time, Jay got the jump on them and kicked them out, because you got to remember, you had the Bullet Club firing squad, the most recent iteration. That was Tama, Tangaloa, and Haku, and to a lesser extent Hikuleo, the other son. They were the ones who were out to get rid of the Elite, the Bucks and Kenny.
Yep.
And they did, by getting Jay, who I think was already on the way into Bullet Club, even though at that year's New Year Dash where he faked out Kenny and started that rivalry to get the title. But that was set up almost solely by them. Jay knew this. Jay was a product of this. Jay stopped it from happening again. In theory, as I mentioned before, this sets the table for him to create a new Ultimate Edition of Bullet Club. It could bring in big names from the past. We've already seen Adam Cole drop, "When you're Bullet Club for life." Paraphrasing, of course.
Yes.
He said that to the Bucks. The Bucks, they had the face where they like, he's not wrong, but at the same time, they're kind of like, we're trying to distance ourselves from that, but we know that's where our fucking money was made. So secretly, I think they're still about it. But the big question,
I don't know, man. It could be something nice and hot brewing. It gets you excited, and sometimes you just want to be right, And I think Jay White, I've heard criticism of him being the leader of the Bullet Club. And I think, like we talked about earlier.
Oh, I've criticized him for being leader of the Bullet Club many times.
I love Jay White though, man.
He's always come off as more of a promoter of himself than of the club as a whole. But as of late, he's kind of grown into the role.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes that comes more naturally for people too. But I feel like with Jay, like he's made himself a little bit more of a larger than life star lately. Like, with the cross promotions and stuff, coming to Impact, being in America and stuff, he's kind of like, I feel like he has to market himself so you get eyes on him. Then he brings eyes to the Bullet Club, and there's still plenty of fans that watch AEW that may not really know about the Bullet Club and the long-standing history it has, all the members, all that good stuff. I mean, at some point, Kenny's going to be getting better and coming back, and it makes you wonder, where are they going to thrust Kenny during his return? You never know. It could be, like you said, Adam Cole and the Bucks turn on Red Dragon. They join the Bullet Club, and Kenny comes back, and he's like, "What is this shit?" So. I mean, the door's open for possibilities. I for one, wouldn't mind seeing God and AEW, come slapping some heads off.
Oh, I'm sure GOD's going to show up in AEW and start a ruckus.
I think so, man. It gets you excited. I just, we all have to be patient, and then again, there comes those storylines again, that. There's a lot of them, and some of them fizzle out. Some of them we want to see. But AEW is good with long-term storytelling. I mean, sometimes they kind of miss the mark on the short-term stuff. But, I think in respect with Cody being a good worker, I do feel like, he thrust himself into a lot of short-term storylines that they weren't bad, but, it took up screen time. It took up time, and I don't want to see too many more short-term little storylines. Speaking of, you need to watch the Jericho and Eddie Kingston promo, because storyline-wise, that right there, man, I could watch them guys on the mic all day.
Those two can tell a good story.
You're gonna be happy, man. Everybody was getting chills that I've seen post about it, but. Storyline wise, if this does go somewhere with Jay White, I'm glad he's in AEW. I feel like he's a good. They just need good guys on the mic, man. He's great on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got, a hell of a faction behind his belt, and Inner Circle was like the faction for AEW. With Bullet Club coming in. That's another big name faction, but I feel like there needs to be another solid faction, and the Pinnacle they're a little bad, but they're kind of a mess right now. It was like at first they were all together, and now it's like they're all individually doing their own thing, and who doesn't want to see another NWO level faction again really flood the playing field? I do. I think it'd be cool, and there's a lot of good storylines going on right now, but I'm just saying at some point, they bring Kenny back in, say there's a super Bullet Club, whether he joins or he gets into a feud with Jay as wanting to be the leader again. I mean, you never know, man. And who the heck knows who else they're going to bring in. My hopes Prince Devitt comes back.
Oh, God, with the way they've shit on him lately, in my opinion, it looks like they're slowly giving him another push going by his Instagram posts. But with the way they've just been so wishy-washy with him, God, I want him to leave WWE so bad, but I feel like he'll stay for the money. And, hey, I mean, no problem there. No problem.
No,
I mean, he's an amazing talent. And
business is business.
Business is business. Let him do what he do. I won't fault him for it, because no matter what he does, he is always good.
Always.
But all things considered, things are looking up. We've got a lot of good things coming, and I am hoping for the best. I mean, we can speculate all day long. I will say the only thing that is guaranteed, and if people haven't heard it here, you're going to hear it here now. If you haven't seen the article already, it just got shared to me by our old buddy drummer John. It has just been pretty much confirmed by Jeff Hardy himself. He is coming to AEW. It was shared on Ringside News just a moment ago, and I shared it on the Facebook page. Yeah. So it is official. When it happens, it's going to happen, but it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh, man, I'm excited now. Hey, that's news to me over the air here, brother. I got Jeff Hardy. That's my boy right there. Now, I want this. Jeff is going to be in AEW, and he's going to be with Matt. I love the broken stuff. Hopefully they do that, but I just want all our guys to be safe, man, because like we talked about earlier, man, you watch these guys take bumps, and every time I hear Jeff Hardy's name, I think of all the car crashes he's been through. As they would put, JR would put it, he's been through a car crash. By God, I just want to see these guys perform to the best of their abilities, stay safe, put on a good show. But man, that is exciting. That is really exciting.
Oh, I know.
I kind of wish it would have been more of a surprise, but I think everybody kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew it was coming, but
they did shit the bed on him a little bit. They're like, "Oh, you're acting funny. See ya." And then they're like, "He's like, no, I'm doing pretty good," and everybody else says he was doing good, and it just really does not make WWE look good. I understand it, but man, that was really premature. Who knows, man? We'll see what happens. Like you said, a lot of good stuff coming, and that to me is a huge positive. If I get to go to an AEW show and see Jeff Hardy, I mean, I'll be happy as a bump on a stump.
Yes, indeed. With that, everybody, I will say, enjoy all the wrestling coming up. Watch everything you can. And again, big thanks to you, Drew, for coming on again. You're always welcome.
Thank you, man.
Oh yeah, it's always fun. It's nice, fresh perspective. I enjoy it. We'll try and get some more people on. I believe next week we should have another new guest that hasn't been on the show before. Another acquaintance of mine through many things, but next week may be a little different. We'll talk a little news, but I believe if all goes accordingly, we're going to talk a little more about the toy aspect of wrestling. So that should be a good time, especially from a customs standpoint, which is my personal area of expertise as well. But we've got another good guest coming in. But that's a little teaser for next week. Other than that, thanks to Falcon and the Polar for making Post the Post sound so good, and hopefully getting some of you to come back. Thanks again for coming on, Drew. I appreciate it thoroughly. And to everyone else,
thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. And for everyone else, thanks for listening. Give us a follow on all the places. If you haven't listened to last week's episode with the Chosen One, go back, listen to it, give him a follow on all his stuff. He's a boy. And yeah, just look us up on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. All those tags will be in the show notes for you to click, follow, subscribe, etc. Get us to the point where people will invite us to conventions. That's all we're after. We're not really out to make money. We just want perks.
Right.
Just perks. I want to get into places for discounted / free. I don't care about the money. I want to meet people and talk to people. Fuck all the money. But with that, we'll catch everybody next week. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.